Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 86 of I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. I'm Michael Palisak, your host of it is it's a very special week on I Just Got My Kid to Sleep. Not only, okay, not, I'm stalling because I think I'm about to sneeze, but I'm definitely going to sneeze, but. this is where we this is where we lose the YouTube viewers. You gotta get them. You gotta get them. You gotta get them in the first. You got to That's what's your hook? Allergies? I don't think it's allergies. This is. I mean, I don't know. Could be. What's in your air? What's in the air? This is the studio. I can't be allergic to my studio. It's a very special episode. I just want you to know that it's because you're here. First off, my grandma used to say nice things like that. I mean, other people have too, but like I'd be like, "How are you?" and she'd be like, "Great." Now that I'm talking to you, so that's where I got that. It's a very special episode because, and not like special like, you know, do they do those anymore? Like the sitcom special episode. TV was thriving. Here's the thing for all the new Generation Zers. I don't know what generation is my son. When do they get a name? When do they get a name for their generation? You know, what are they gonna be? Generation reject all phones because they had them their whole lives. Um, no, I don't know. I don't. But here's how it used to be when you'd watch TV as a child in the early years. Sitcoms were so aplenty. There were so many, so rich with setups and punchlines delivered by different people. Cause sitcoms they have like bum 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 bum, and then story and character so rich. Like you. I don't know why we even need TV now. We can just watch old TV. I guess it's a whole business, but there was so many sitcoms. There were so many sitcoms. Come on, use the correct words, Michael. There were so many sitcoms that like sometimes a sitcom would have a very special episode where they got really serious, and there was like a lesson about saying no to drugs or someone. I don't know if someone never died in a very special episode, but it's a very people almost died, like Home Improvement, like the middle child, which I relate Jonathan Taylor. I related to because I'm a middle. I'm one of three boys. I'm the middle of three. Like he got I don't what did he get like cancer or something? I don't know. He was fine, but it was very special. It was a very special episode. It made you really watch TV and think, oh, they're people too. Like and no one made fun of it ever. Like I don't know, no one I knew. It was just a part. It was just a part of that day. It was just like there was a special episode today, and sometimes it would be too heavy, and you wouldn't be allowed to watch it. I feel like every episode of Roseanne was pretty special. That was a pretty like solid, like dramatic sitcom comedy. Today I'm featuring a jar for my drink. I think this looks like it used to be a pickle jar, and now it's a cup. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And this is the second R. It's the second best R. Reduce is even better. If I could just take this jar to pick up more pickles, that's the number one option. Number two, reuse. It's a jar, but now it's water. The only thing that's weird about using a pickle jar to drink out of is if I want to do juice, it's really hard to tell how much is a lot of juice because here's the thing normal glasses have a normal like a decent width diameter, and the pickle jar it normally has pickles in it. It doesn't have just juice. So it's not used to being all liquid. And then juice is like sugar with from fruit, which is a lot. And anyway, I just can't tell. I used to think I couldn't tell, and then I started pouring it. And I was like, "This is enough juice. It's not bad. It's not a bad amount of juice, really. If you, no, I mean, if you think about, it, if you taste it, you're like, I'll have a little more juice. I've been underestimating the amount of juice that I would like in this. I would put like a little bit, like a finger. Is that liquid alcohol? That's the only kind of alcohol, really. But like, That's how you could tell is like you just put a little, and then I'd be like, I think I need more. And so I think this whole observation is pretty obsolete. No, just like not important. Not important. I got a lot of comments on the YouTube page today. I don't for this last episode. I don't know what they mean or what they say, but whoever's out there, I appreciate you pushing it up the scale of why any comment is a comment. And but if you do have a real comment that's in not these weren't even in like a non. You don't have to do it in English. You know, I'll look it up or translate it or learn your language. This was just like kind of it looked like the person was going through a thing and it didn't make sense. And and maybe they just I don't know. Maybe their keyboards, all the letters were mixed up and they weren't looking while they were typing. Why do I need to make excuses for a stranger? But if you have any comments, feel free keep them coming. And I'll do my best to address them. We're having a great. This is a very special episode because this right here. Oh wow, this is countdown to Halloween. We're Monday. Halloween's Friday. What a very important week this is as a parent, right? Because when you have holidays like this is such like a youthful holiday. Like everyone gets to celebrate all the other holidays, but this is really for the kids and for the parents who live through their kids. And I do for sure, like 100%. Like I've gone trick or treating the last couple years with my son, and I've gone into this week being like, okay, that's been really fun. If something changes, if something's different, I'll always have those. It hasn't lost its shine. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it, but I don't feel the pressure to be like, we gotta get this, because it was it's been good. It's been really nice. It's a very I love how wholesome trick or treat kids. We get out of the house and you go to strangers and they give you can't. I heard some people like only go to people but we don't. Who knows anybody. So we go to people's houses that have lights on, and if there's Halloween decorations, that's a plus. Like if you have Halloween decorations on and a light, like we'll ring the doorbell twice if you don't come because we're like, oh, they probably are just so busy celebrating Halloween that they didn't come to the door. Like I love the people that have their houses that are all done up and they're there and they're ready and they're like sometimes they're out in front of their house because I guess that's safer or something. They're like there and they're like, here you go, here you go. But I also love the people that are just like living their normal lives, but they're like, I'll still do Halloween. They're like watching Monday Night Football. It's not Monday, but it was Thursday night last year. They're just like doing a thing, and then it's like, all right, yeah. And there's a dog that's barking, and you don't know if there's a risk for yourself or your child, but you're like, it's Halloween. We got protective costuming on us. Maybe the dog's afraid of me. You don't know what I am, right? So that's it's a countdown to Halloween, and I'm coming to terms as a parent that like while childhood does fly by and it is fast and whatever, it's still long too. Especially like I'm in the mid kids. That's what I decided to call. I don't know if I just came up with that. I might have just come up with that. But I'm Jack's a mid kid. He's not a baby, right? We know that. Not an infant. I'm not a parent of an infant. I don't have a toddler toddling around. I don't have like a pre-K, not a pre-K little kid. He's like graduated, I feel like, to middle kid. Like he's not we tell the kids they're big kids, and we've talked about my issues with that. Like I really don't see a point in lying to a kid. Like just tell them the truth and let them cry. Like we're like, you're a big kid, so you gotta eat your vegetables or not. Like we went to a little like kids like workout thing today. It was like a ninja class, and like American Ninja Warrior, but for kids. And it's interesting because like the people are very nice and they set up obstacle courses and then they help the kids do them. And what I'm really realizing as a parent of a mid kid is that I'm never gonna see the end to some of these. Some of these like sports and classes. Like I maybe will swing back around, but I mean this is like Jack mid kids are kind of old for this place. Like he's gonna have to go somewhere else. So these obstacle courses are made up for kids that can never ever do the thing. Like they're always helping them do it, and then the kids are distracted and they do a thing and a thing. And I'm not smart enough to realize how helpful it is. Like I know he has fun, and I know he gets to play with other kids, and I get to like watch him do it while I also watch the World Series game on my phone and talk to the other parent who's also trying to watch the World Series while also looking at their kid and be like, ah, yeah, I see it. Oh my gosh, like that's I usually when I go to my kid's practice or his little ninja class, I'm just there. I'm present. I'm not like here's what I won't be. I won't be like on my phone like this the whole time. Like you have your moments, right? Everybody does. Like I never smoked cigarettes, but I'm gonna take a little break to get that. Oh, did I get all my messages? What are their new messages? My life could be so different right now, even though the whole life is in front of me right now. And but with the playoff game or the World Series, I'm gonna have it on. We're gonna look at you. We're gonna look down. Baseball is football too. A pretty easy sport to like watch your kid do something and then look back and then look up and then look back. It's like pretty sweet. Oh, I just got some of the like glue that's still on the on the this pickle jar from the label. How do you get that off? Because I've washed it a lot of times in a dishwasher. In a in a dishwasher. And but the stuff's still on there, and I peeled it off a little bit because I sometimes have problems with peeling things. It's not a problem, but like when I'm talking, I want to peel stuff, and then I put it on my leg, and I have leg hairs, and it just hurt a little bit. So I'm glad you were along for that ride. We made it through it. I bet rubbing alcohol takes like off everything. I forget what it was recently that I was just like, oh, this works so well. Um, but anyways, he's a mid. Like I'm in my middles, right? Maybe I'm a little younger if I'm a centen centenarian. Um, but he's in his mid kids, and it's special for both of us. Like I am excited, but I think I'll be able to really relax and enjoy it for how well the last couple Halloweens have gone trick or treating wise. Like we felt the joy and the freedom. Like I feel like now are the years. Like if I was a professional athlete, right? I never was, but like I could. Like look, some people were like maybe, but if I ever was, there would be the excitement of the early years. Their career is very short, average wise. But if I did get to play a lot, there'd be the excitement of the early, and then the mid would be like, oh, this is my life, And I would remind myself, okay, it's good to relax and enjoy, but also just know that I don't know if it's good to know it's all going to be gone, but like, it's nice. I'm going to really get to enjoy this trick or treating, knowing that I've had the lovely moments as a father before, where we're going door to door and he's running and he's so happy, and I just get, I feel so accomplished. This is so silly. I shouldn't even share it. Okay, I will. I feel so accomplished as a parent. This is ridiculous. I mean, there are so many other things to concern yourselves with in this life, but I feel I'm so lucky to have this not even as a problem but as a focus. I feel so lucky as a parent when my child, this is going to sound crazy. I can't even, I will say it because I can. It's just crazy to me that I feel so lucky. I feel so valuable. Like I feel like so accomplished as a parent when my child gets to experience something like just as a normal child would have experienced in any generation, with maybe like some changes that have come. Like people have been trick or treating for a long time, and it's a fun thing, and he gets to do this fun because kids grow up too fast, and I don't really see it yet, but I know I could see it, like he's got like when he's going trick or treat, I'm like, I did it, right? He gets to do this thing that I did when I was a kid. And I didn't think when I was a kid that it was special. I just did it and it was fun and I liked it. And I think that's the best advertisement for being a parent that they should share. Like, the best reason that I don't know, you get to love a person too, which is great, but and care for another and share this youthful energy of love with the world. But I think one of the other positive, best things about being a parent is that, like, all the fun stuff of being a kid that, like, as a kid, you just kind of ran through because you're a kid and you're like, all right, on to the next. That was fun. That was fun. And you're so whatever, maybe in the moment or whatever. Um, Now as a parent, you get to really like witness, like, it's almost like I get to time travel back to my childhood and just be in it all again, but without the perspective of being the kid that wants to grow up and move on, that wants to be 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, and like, but really just gets to see it again. Like, being a parent is time traveling. I think obviously it's not the 90s or whatever decade that I was in, but like, it's a whole thing, you know? It's a whole experience. I just get to see it. I get to travel around, and not only do I get to time travel, like, it's not like a ghost, like in what's that story? Oh, the one, A Christmas Carol. You just have to say the words and they come out. That's what they teach you in podcasting school. I bet there is one now. There should be. There's a big business out there, I think, for podcasting. Some people just start them. I it's not like you're in the Christmas Carol where everything is happening. You can't interact with it. It's not like you're in the Back to the Future. These are my only real time travel references. Where, like, what's the other one? Harry Potter. Where if you interact with the past, you could change it and ruin it. I mean, you could still ruin, your kid's life, but you'll be the same. Maybe not on the inside, but you know what I'm saying. So it's like you get to time travel, you get to magically transport yourself back to this time, and you get to be there, and you get to interact with this person, and you're supposed to. That's the crazy part. Is like, this is your job. Like, you don't have to go trick or treating with your kids. You could have somebody else, that's close to them do it. You don't have to. Like, my mom stayed back and gave out candy, which someone's got to do that too. Someone's got to take on that position, do that job, and that's probably fun too. I think if you have like a loving duo, you get to sort of have them do and enjoy it, and then you get to enjoy this and all that. But oh man, it's like you get to time travel, but you get to interact with the little guy mid kit. You get to interact and then feel it and see it, and then you can do, like, say thank you, and it's so the it is quite a trip, I would say, living in the day to day, even from picking your kid up to school from school, or waking up in the morning with your kid to putting them to bed, like, is quite a trip of, not like drugs, but like, it kind of feels of like this. All the problems are pretty easy, like, overall. And even when you mess up, it's like, oh, not a big deal. Like, well, did he eat his vegetables today? I don't know. Made avocado sandwich. That's a vegetable, but he decided not to eat that. And I'm not gonna push it on him because there's other options. So I didn't. Oh no, what? I'll have to see if he eats vegetables tomorrow. I'm like, oh, he should have went to bed a little earlier, but he wanted me to read him a book. What am I gonna not read to him? It's the last book of a series, and he just finally found it again. And did he find it because he just wanted to stay up later? Of course. Well, here's what I found as a parent. If, at least for my 6-year-old now, and nearing the end of 6, we're gonna be super middle of being a kid soon. Like, or maybe we're, whatever. Yeah, I would say that. I would say, like, whenever toddler stops, then, like, kid begins. So then you take that and divide it by 2. So toddler stops like 4, 3, and it goes to 13. Then you got 10 years. So, like, 6 or 7 is like, we're right in it. It's very exciting. It's really special. And I don't, if you're a parent, you get it. If you have a couple kids, you get more chances, right? And you can, a lot of people, you can, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can, I don't know, hang out with nieces and nephews. Like, we all can have this isn't anyway. Um, but it's super special. And I feel like there's no way to mess it up if you look at it like that. Like, sure, right? He had candy because we went to get a haircut. What am I gonna do? Say no to the haircut candy? It does throw you off a little bit when they're young and candy like hits them, right? Because like if you look at it like alcohol, and that's not a good comparison. People have real issues, but like if you look at it like a shot or a beer or a glass of wine, like one serving, you know, everyone over 21 or whatever has a certain reaction to each one of those. And I think like you could have like a smaller, more petite person, and then a heavier person's going to experience it differently. But I feel like a 2 year old or a 3 year old for a lollipop versus like a 6 year old, it's a different world, right? So anyway, he's 6 now. We went to get a haircut, and it was such an easy thing. It was like it used to be. He'd be like, "I don't want a haircut. I don't want a haircut," and it wasn't because of the style, like his mom thought some. I think, and I don't know. I can't speak for other parents. I will, but I shouldn't. I see a lot of kids with longer hair, which is totally fine. I'm not being like long hair. Like here, when you're older and it's like a real choice, then it's like, oh yeah, who cares? But I feel like with kids, and for me, I know with Jack, he didn't want to get a haircut because he thought it would hurt. And whenever I see a kid with longer hair, and if the parents like it, if the kid likes it, I mean, who cares about? I guess girls are always going to be more likely to have longer hair. Maybe not always, but right now. But I just feel like it's so much easier when the hair is shorter. And and Jack was like, "Oh, I don't want a haircut," because he thought it hurt to cut his hair. I don't know where he got that. I never told, like he's been to see me get haircuts, and he was like, "That hurts. I don't want to." And I'm not like that would I you could really mess up a kid that way if I went to get a haircut and I was like, no, no, are you okay, Dad? Yeah, this is just how a haircut feels. That's like part of my body's being sawed off like that. I could see if he had that reaction if I did. I've never done that once. I never once took him when I was getting a haircut. I'm like, no, please stop. Please stop. Keep going. I don't want this haircut to not look good, but please don't. Just do it fast. No, not the clippers. It's like a million scissors cutting me apart. Like I feel like kids are so smart, and that's what they would think that it is. That there's like a blade, and if they think that one hair hurts getting cut, then all of them. So when they hear the bzz. Anyway, so I convinced my son that we wouldn't get him a haircut, and he wanted a buzz cut because I guess he thought that would be quicker and less painful, and also he loves Buzz Lightyear. So we started just being like, oh, this is a buzz cut, and I thought that meant that we gotta like buzz it, like buzz, and so it's gonna be really short. So it was that way for a while. It was like right before a picture day one time. We got it buzzed, and I was happy with the way it looked. I thought it looked good, but he still wore a hat anyways. We talked about that in other episodes. Um, but now I realize, so now he still doesn't want a haircut, but he came to me. He came to me, his father, who I feel like he can talk to, whatever his mom says. He came to me and he's like, Dad, I think I need a buzz cut, but I don't want it really short. He just wants a haircut. But it was getting in his eyes. This was bothering him. And I think a lot of kids aren't bothered by it. But anyway, I think if you have a young child and they say they don't want a haircut, they might, I'm not saying this is true, but it's possible. They might just be thinking that it'll hurt to get a haircut to the point where each hair is like a part of their body that would be being chopped by sharp metal instantaneously. And they don't believe that watching Bluey while that happens will make it feel better. So, and who can blame them? If I thought that chopping off my hair was like a very, there were like a lot of nerve endings that would be painful. I wouldn't, I'd have long hair like Lord of the Rings too. They also feel that way about fingernails sometimes. But I think fingernails are more, those can hurt because sometimes you get too short and then you're like, I'm amazed. This is kind of off topic, but I'm amazed as a human how you can cut parts of nails, fingernails, toenails, that are connected to skin and not be in immense pain. Is is anybody else like especially maybe it's more of a toenail, but like I sometimes I feel like, oh, that was skin. I'm gonna be hurting for a while, and it's just like, yeah, that was skin's distant relative, top layer of skin. That's we've been waiting for it to die. Anyway, that's my advice there. Um, but if you want to have your kids have longer hair, that's fine. It's fun. It looks cool. It looks cool. You know, there's a couple kids on Jack's athletic sports teams that are very athletic, and it doesn't get in the way at all of their pursuit of any happiness in being a kid. Um, but yeah, Halloween. There's one house by us that's really fun. That we live by a neighborhood that is like all the houses are amazing or whatever, and everyone goes there. But then there's a neighborhood that's like closer to us where it's just like really chill, and the people are very happy that you're there, and they just say like take all the candy. They sell it, just take it. You know. Last year or the year before, I always go with them, you know, because he's young and there's that's a city, and and they were like, oh, you know, he would take one for me, and then we went to the busy area and he started taking one for me, and everyone was just like, what are you doing? Anyway, um, it's exciting. It's very exciting. I'm starting to get too excited. I gotta, because here's what, and I'm not gonna let it happen. I'm not, but I know that in the past, like best part about where there's no like trick or treating stops now. So this is like there's no hour where it's like, hey, this is done. If you come in our house, that's trespassing. So don't get on my property. Like that's not a thing. You can sort of do it for a while. There'll be fireworks probably at some point. But I do get a little like I have. I don't think I'm going to this year because I think we're going to like a different thing first. We're gonna start trick or treating in a different neighborhood earlier, so I'll get it started, and then we'll head back here when it's nighttime and fun and everything. Um, but I'm always like, I'm gonna miss it. No, you're not. Your kid's right here. You're not missing it. I got sneezing. But yeah, we're hitting that time in our parenting careers, my parenting, where I'm like, I've done it and it's fun and it's only going to be more fun. And whatever happens now, I've already checked in. I've already gotten to relive it a couple times, and I'm happy for all the times I get. I'm never gonna work on Halloween. Well, I mean, maybe ever, because you can't move Halloween. You know, like Christmas, right? I don't know. Santa comes when he comes, right? Here, if he's with other family and I'm not there or whatever, it's separate households. Like I can be like, oh well, Santa came and now it's Christmas. Like I'm not gonna admit, you know. I think when maybe when he was older, but like now it's just like we're happy for presents. Um, it's fun, but and like maybe Easter is similar with eggs and stuff, but Halloween, I can't make that up. You know, we can't. If he's with his mom on Halloween, I can't be like the next day. Like, all right, let's go do some doors and see what happens. I don't know what that would be like. That'd be like. Can you imagine trick or treating as like a single dad with your kid on November 1st? Like the kind of sad looks. I don't know if anyone would come to their door, but it's like, hey, yeah, I wasn't with my son on Halloween, so we're here now. If you got anything, they should have like single dad Halloween the day after. Hey, this is when you can go out with your kid if the mom had him on Halloween. So it's just a bunch of because dads need an extra day to plan the costume anyway. Um, anyway, we'll all go together. It'll all be okay. But it is a very special episode this week because it's Halloween week. I didn't get the costume on. Maybe I'll do it next week. But I do have some pieces of the costume. I've made two of these pieces. Or I got a shield here, and I got a sword. And I was gonna like let people guess and give prizes, but I think you'll know. And then I got a bomb here. Careful, Michael. I shouldn't handle it like this. Near open flames. Maybe this side's better. There's a bomb right here. I'm Link from Legend of Zelda. What's fun? And there's the hat, right? That's the only thing I didn't make, or like that's the only thing that I have that I'm not like gonna use a lot in real life. Here's how you make Link. I have a green T-shirt and I have green basketball shorts. Well, I ordered the basketball shorts, but I'll wear them. I would wear those anyway. I like basketball shorts, and I'll have like some like brown socks or something, or like something that looks like he would wear under there, and then like some belts where I can put the sword attached to it, and he has like a thing going across that I can do as a belt to put the, and then you just go and you protect Hyrule. That's I am a grown up, and I think it's interesting that I didn't do this as a kid, but I've spent more time on this costume than I've ever spent. Part of it's because I did have COVID for 10 days and I had cardboard in my house and I was like, well, let's be crafty. Um and as I was making the sword, I think my ancestors used to be blacksmiths, so it could just be in me. But as I was, making the sword and the shield, first I made the sword. It's a pretty good sword here. It's basically aluminum foil, wrapped around some cardboard. I know it looks like a real sword, but that's all it is. It's aluminum foil with cardboard, and then this is kind of how it looks in one of the pictures. And we're in a low power mode. That's okay. We're not all perfect. And then what I did was, it's because I didn't want it to be flimsy. This is a tip, Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. What I did was I had some pencils, right? And I like hot glued or maybe like taped some pencils in here. So that way it's not going to get flimsy right here. This is solid. Up here it might be, I could have put more pencils up here. Man, this could be like one big long pencil. But anyways, it's got some real good, so I can fight Ganondorf. My son was going to be Ganondorf. He's going to be like some other bad guy now named Tattoo from Smash Brothers. But anyway, I was told I was going to be Link, and I was going to be Legend of Zelda Link from the original NES game, because I would be he had a wooden sword. That's just a brown cardboard sword. That's all it is. And he had a shield with a cross on it, which maybe has some crusade religious problems, but that's pretty easy. Just paint a red cross on a shield. People think you're a saint or a legend. And then the hat I got, but Jack told me I had to be the Super Smash Brothers new Link, and so yeah, no. I don't know what he says. It's like no, and this is just what it looked like, and so that's just kind of like you just do the best you can. That's my advice: is you do the best that you can, and from a distance at night in the dark, people are gonna be like, "That's Link." We're not gonna mess with that family. They're protected by Link, and so that's the sword. That's pretty fun. Little how-to here. And then the bomb. The sword's pretty easy. I didn't have to fight any. I didn't fight it in a cave or anything. So really, and then the bomb. I love the bomb. If you're a fan of the series, Link has bombs. Usually, you have to buy them and blow up stuff for secrets. And I just thought that'd be fun because I can like throw it, and it could be like a cool. I kind of thought I was making this like Jack would just be like, I want to be this guy now, but he's fine. But the bomb is just cardboard that I cut out and I taped a piece of paper to. So that's special. And it's blue. I started to paint it purple, but the bombs are actually more blue if you look. And yeah, that's what we got there. And then the shield. Oh no, it's all. I did this second, and I'm pretty impressed because I was almost done. It's got the Triforce in there. That's made of painted aluminum foil, and I folded those to look like the picture. And I did some painting, and it's really not that hard. And then it was just that for a while, and then Jack was like, "You got to make it so you can hold it." So then I took some duct tape, and this is how to make a Link costume, by the way. I don't know if I explained that yet. And for a couple days that you have left before Single Dead Halloween, I took some duct tape and I folded it on itself so it wasn't like sticky for anybody. And then I taped it down with more duct tape. And the best part about duct tape is you just keep using it until it's done. So that's the back, but I'm sure that's how it would look. But that's really special. I should probably be a little more careful because who knows? It's got to make it through Halloween. Oh no, the sword's don't cut anybody. Oh, the bomb's going off. No, it just fell. And then, so that's what I got. And then I'm going to throw some belts around me, like it's holding on to ammo and stuff. And maybe I didn't have to get it all out. I could have just talked about it while it's there. Now it's going to be falling over. Shield, don't fall over. Um, in the original Nintendo game, there are like these little cake things that would eat your shield. So Jack is really worried that we're gonna see someone dressed up like that, and they'll try to eat my shield. But I don't know if they could really eat that shield because it's a different version. And then I got the hat, and oh no, this is this is a great part of the podcast. The hat is just the hat, and oh maybe I'll wear it. We'll see. I'm Link. I'm kind of worried I might get some elf thing. That's got to be the worst, right? When you dress up as something for Halloween and everyone thinks it's something else. Not the worst, obviously. Like there's worst thing in the world is like disease and death or whatever. But like, I don't know if it's worse as a parent or as a kid. Like I remember as a kid one time, I wanted to be like a specific Notre Dame football player. So I had his jersey and I had his pants, and like we spray painted a helmet, goal, and everyone just thought I was Rudy. And I was like, no, I'm this guy. I was Ron Paulus. And I didn't I mean it was if I was Rudy, that would have been cooler to probably just be Rudy. I should have just been Rudy. But anyway, that was probably a good costume if I was Rudy. But my younger brother, I think I talked about, he was Colonel Mustard one time, which is a pretty, from Clue, and no one knew. Those are good costumes when, like, and then once you tell people, people are like, what? And I feel like Colonel Mustard is one of those. The people are going to they might think I don't think they're going to think I'm Elf because I'll have weapons. I think if they start calling me Elf a lot, I'll just have to brandish my sword a little more. But also like I'm the adult, so I shouldn't be too worried about it. Anyways, like it's just for the kids. If people don't know who I am, like what am I gonna be upset about that? Not have not have a good Halloween because people don't know who I am. Am I gonna take my sword and shield away from kids that are playing with it at a Halloween party because I'm like, no, I have to carry this. Otherwise, how will everyone know that I'm Link, Legend of Zelda? They might just think I'm Elf with like a belt around my back for holding nothing. So you don't get to play with my sword, kids. This is by the way, it's not a toy. I mean it is a toy, but in real life, here's a bomb. Now I win. Go away. Um but yeah, it's a very special episode because of Halloween. Halloween's such a fun. I'm a comedian, stand-up comedian. I know it's not always clear, and Jerry Seinfeld is a stand-up comedian, and he said that comedians don't like Halloween because we like being ourselves, right? Because we get to go on stage and make people laugh as ourselves, and I can see that, but I don't know if Jerry ever saw this great Link costume that I made while I had COVID. I mean, look at that! I made a Triforce out of aluminum foil and then painted it yellow. Like this is crafty, right? I painted that by hand. Google image. If this is a very video podcast, but if you Google image, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You could just like pull it up on YouTube after you listen to it. Google image the shield from Legend of Zelda, the newer one, and you'll be like, that. I think he's lying. I think he stole the real one. And the shield, like I even got the blue. It's my son was really into painting. When he was younger, he's a kid. He's not like I'm going to be a painter, father. Like he was 2 or whatever, but he liked it. So he had all this paint, and then he got to an age, and I think it was because of somebody else in his life, not me, maybe his school, but he like all of a sudden didn't want to get messy. And I was like, well, this is good, So he had all this paint, and I just used it. And he's a big fan of blue. I think I did the blue as a base. You know what I might have done, which I like the way it looks now. I'm not regretting it, in case it can listen. It's a magic shield. Did you know that? Maybe I should cut this podcast short. It's not short. It's 38 minutes. We're all done here, Michael. How many people listen to the end? Thank you for doing it. But if you don't, like, also that's when I talk to people about my podcast. What I say, which I don't know if this should be the like glaring best thing about your podcast. I'm just like, well, I do it for about 53 minutes because that's how long my first album was, and I just like that. I think it's a good number. One time I went short, and I felt like, oh, I was not trying. And if there's one thing you learn growing up in a small town in the Midwest and playing sports is that like you can at least try, right? And then you get into like show business, you're like, well, you don't need to try that hard. But I do feel like I tell people like, well, what about the podcast? Well, I feel like the best part about a podcast is if they don't like it, they just won't watch the rest of it, or not don't like it, but if they're just like, oh my gosh, right? And maybe they'll love it too. Um, But that's what I was saying. Like Mr. Seinfeld, Jerry was like, "Oh, we don't like dressing up." And I do feel like as a kid, my mom made me a dinosaur costume, which was hard to walk in. You know, when I'm not really big into Jack's costume because his mom really loves it and she's so good at it. But I always feel like maneuverability is really important to me. Like the most important part for me is like walking or running from house to house and getting candy. And the second is like the picture that like I think it's cute looking back for sure, but I've never lived for a picture. You know, maybe a TV spot for sure, like a couple minutes where people are laughing and liking it, but like a picture, I don't know. So maneuverability is really good, but I just feel like I was a dinosaur, which was fun. My mom did a great job. And then I was a pirate a lot, which was cool. I still have the hat. It doesn't fit that well because I was such a kid. I was a mid kid. And then yeah, I had some. Then I kind of like I just wasn't super doing what I loved. You know, I don't think I got the point of Halloween that much. But I feel like this costume, even though I didn't pick it, you know, you might have trouble believing that after all the effort and paint I put into it. But my son told me to. So my son was going to be Ganondorf, who's the bad guy from Legend of Zelda, and then he was like, and then I told him, which wasn't exactly true, but I said I've always wanted to be Link, which I've always loved Link, and I think the idea is good. I didn't think about it as a kid, but then he was like, "All right, you get to be Link," which is so good because originally his mom was gonna get to be Link, and then I'd have to be I don't know what like the one of the bad guys that with the red thing with the nose. I've only really played the first game, um, so I was very amped. You know, I felt like this is a real connection to something about me. But anyway, I get it because as a comedian, there's something about the way a lot of people do stand up where it's like the more you can be yourself, the better this is all going to feel because there's no rules, right? There's no like there's no setup to you, right? In a movie or a sketch or a play or a book, there's a background. There's a whole thing. And I guess if you're like a famous comedian, there's more of a background, which is how you can get away with a little more stuff. But if you're just most times you go on stage, people are just like, oh, they see you and then they hear you and then that's just you, you know? And and it changes things. I feel like it changes how people perceive you and there's little things and big things. And for me, and maybe for the thing that Mr. Seinfeld's relating to or relaying to everybody is that like if all you get is what people see and hear and think, then and you don't really know the answer to being different than you, like to like really winning this night, then if you're just yourself, then at least you have that, and people will be able to tell that, and then they can sort of go from there. You don't have they're not no one's gonna be questioning your authenticity as a performer. But that means I can still dress up as this. I mean, I'm gonna have this costume. This costume's gonna like I think I should have had this costume. I don't know. Could have had a lot more fun in Halloween as an adult, and maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe that's why you become a parent is to realize like, oh, you really there's more fun than just being like I was talking to a parent like that at my gym today. Like we were talking about because they have a couple kids and I have Jack and it was just like I don't know how I ever felt stress before, you know, because when I'm not like when Jack's in school or when I go on the road, like I can feel stress about stuff or like worry or whatever, but it's like such a relief um to not have to bear the load of another one's existence all the time. So it's like a relaxed stress. Anyway, if you don't have kids, you know, and I'm sure everyone gets stressed, but and maybe I don't know, everyone has levels. Like some people like run huge companies and they're like, how could you feel stressed about being a parent, right? So this is that's a pointless point, but it did have a point. Um, but yeah, it's real special. If you're going out for Halloween, be safe. You know, I might get a pumpkin. I'm gonna get a pumpkin ready. Jack and I did a haunted Trader Joe's house build today. it's like a gingerbread house, but they were like, how can we sell this for Halloween too? And so they made it chocolate and they made it spooky themed, like scary ghosts and other things in it, but it's still like the chocolate cookie. And I'm not a big crafty person. I know that it's hard to tell from what I did over here, but I'm not a big maybe I can make a cake. I've never tried. I feel like that's someone being like, "Oh, I could build the Mona Lisa." That's a painting, but like a building, right? If I You just watch a YouTube video, but Jack's mom, they bought this thing from Trader Joe's, but they have a dog, and they're like, "Oh, dogs can't eat chocolate, so do you want this?" And Jack likes it, right? And when your kid lights up about something, it's like, "Oh, it's another chance." I don't know why I'm so concerned with my son being a kid, but I just feel like you only get to do it for a little while, and it's very special. But I do realize too, like I'm still a kid, so you really don't have to grow up. Um, but he really wanted to, so we put together this house, and it's a small, gingerbread house, and I felt like it's kind of contrived because they make all the pieces for you, and so it's really just like putting it together with frosting. And I never believed the frosting's gonna hold it together. I just don't believe it. It's not cement. Like these are cookies. This isn't gonna hold. And at first it didn't, and I couldn't figure out how to get the frosting out. And I just remember what my dad used to say, or still maybe does, about my dad's alive. It's fine. About Christmas decorations. He's like, when you mess up, when it's not perfect, that's the whole point of Christmas, especially if you're, Catholic or religious, like, because Jesus is born, like, Jesus became human who have flaws. So every time you showcase those flaws, you're being more seasonal than watching 3 Hallmark movies in a row. Um, and which are starting, I heard, by the way, which I used to kind of make fun of, but why? Why make people, they're joyful anyway. We made this house and we used the frosting. And the best part about working with a 6-year-old on it is like, as I was making it, if I was doing it with another adult, they'd probably be understanding, but they'd be like, this is not look good. And they'd make fun of me. And I would take it okay because I'm a comedian. And if people are laughing, I've accepted that I did it on purpose. But with my son, I would do the frosting where you were supposed to, but it would just like seep off of it, and it would be like not like it looks in the picture at all. And he'd be like, "Okay," and then he'd put the little decorations over the frosting, and then he'd like, "I'll do this part," and I put the frosting in the wrong spot. He's like, "You did 3 places. You're only supposed to do 2." I'd be like, "Okay," and then he'd like put it over there, and they do the windows, and he tried to make it look exactly like the picture. Like he was looking at the picture, seeing what it's supposed to look like, but he didn't, because I've seen his paintings, his crayon, his drawings. They're not. He Part of me thinks he might be like, this dad really needs this, but also I think he's just like, this is really good. And with this stuff, right, the shield and the sword, I was like, as I was doing it, I was like, this looks like it was homemade. But now I see it, I'm like, no, this is what it's supposed to look like. But with the house, it's, it fell over once. I had to get more frost. I ran out of black, so I started using red. It's a very bloody house, not in like the British swear word way. Just like there's blood, it's bleeding, and which is creepy and scary too. So that's what we did today, and I picked Jack up from school right after school, which he has activities after school, and I've just decided that for six, for now, for today, for maybe this week, I just wanna hang out with him until he's like, Dad, no, let me stay at school, because I don't know what if I was in school from, for like 6 or 7 hours, and then I had to go do another thing after that. I get it why he likes it. Like some of the after school activities, they give him Pokemon cards. They really bribe these kids, and I'm just like, well, I could give you Pokemon card, and I'm your dad. Come hang out. So it's also easier to do. Like we got a haircut today. We build a house, and he really wanted to build like a really scary house in the picture, but it wasn't. There's not enough pieces for that. That wasn't that important. But then we did, a whole my gym thing, and it's like, and he was still in bed with enough time to get sleep, and I made dinner. The parents will relate to this part if you haven't yet, where you're like, oh, we got to eat now. we gotta eat now, So I get his food together, which is at first just like hummus and pretzels, and I make a sandwich for him. And then like he sits down on my lap and I'm just like, hold on 1 second, I'll get you milk. And then I just throw food together for me and I'm like, we'll do another meal later, Michael. Like that's like this is the kid meal. I'll make something for you later. We just gotta get him to sleep. Anyway, we're almost done here. I was in Chicago this past weekend. I really liked it. I'll be back. I'll be back in September in Blue Island at the Lyric Theater. That's a long time from now, but it was really nice to see old friends and new people and family members. I did a Facebook ad, so if you saw that and then you came to the show and now you're listening to the podcast, let me know. If I mean you don't have to, but next week I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska at the Scott Hall inside of their Performing Arts Center. And then the Thursday though I'll be in Burlington, Iowa, at some really good place. And then Friday in Omaha, Saturday I'll be in Okoboji, and yeah. And then the next week I go to uh, I believe Missoula, Montana, and Bozeman, Montana, and then I think Petersburg, Montana. We haven't really found a link for that for the tickets, but that's going on there. And then I'm going to Bennington, Vermont, and Wilmington, Delaware, and East Providence, Rhode Island. So, and maybe there's another one in there, but it does this all. We go from Halloween to Thanksgiving. That's what that is. So come on out to a show if you hear about it, and if you're in the area. Um, but anyway, this is just the part one because next week will be a real good recap of Halloween, and I think it will. We can share our stories if anybody wants to let me know their favorite traditions. I'm really appreciative for that for this holiday that's just celebrating death. Like it's such a positive, joyful, like people die. Here's some candy. Like what? Don't sleep because you have candy right away. Like it's such a happy way to remember that people die. Like it's great. Halloween is a fantastic way to come to terms that your life is impermanent. Like, I don't know. That's in the orange and black were my high school colors. So that's really nice. Anyway, what's your favorite candy? I liked Milky Way as a kid. Get out of here. Anybody else that says differently? I mean, Snickers, I understand, but I couldn't do peanuts. I don't know. I was told I couldn't. I probably could have been fine. Skittles is insane. If you just said Skittle, like Skittles is like, we're M and M's. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're M&M. No, no. We look like M&Ms that chose a different letter, but no. Taste the rainbow. Well, that sounds like a drug. All right, everybody. That's it. We did it. This is me, Michael Palisak / Link, saying Happy Halloween week. Enjoy. Stay safe, though. No. Be careful. Thanks. Have fun.